Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In our last class, we were trying to discuss risk management, and we tried to talk about currency risk and also interest rate risk. And we did agree in that class that we're going to be starting with currency risk management. Alright, so today we'll just go into interpretation of quote and how to apply the quote that's given to us to convert whatever exposure that we have based on our last.
Alright, look at this now. Interpretation of quote and conversion. So if I have dollar to pound is 1.250, what does this mean? This is simply telling me that $1.250 is required in exchange for 1 unit of pounds, right? And if I have a quote also, like at that advanced level in your exam, what you have is actually a quote that is spread. All right, what do I mean by spread? A quote that is ranging from a lower value to the higher value, such as this that we have. Dollar to pound is 1.250 to 1.260. All right, there's one usual assumption that we state here, that the bank is the only dealer of foreign exchange. In this case, it means the bank at any point is either buying dollar from you or selling dollar to you and all of that. So at any point, the bank will want to sell to you at the higher rate, sell currency to you at the higher rate, or buy currency from you at the lower rate. The essence is that whatever margin that is between these two quotes will be dealt in as spread, will be taken as spread by the bank, which means they are the one making profit of this. And so in the exam, your interpretation should be in that line, that the bank is always going to be making these gains from whatever transaction you are dealing with. All right, so we'll get into that now when we start doing conversion. All right, so another way you can see this quote is to give you a spread 1.250 plus or minus 0.050. So all this is saying is that there are two extreme cases here. One is 1.250. I would deduct 0.050. This will give me the lower band. So I will now add the 0.050 to the other one, which is 1.250 plus 0.050. So this will now give me my required quote, which I'm going to be using for this interpretation. So the difference between these two quotes, the first one here, the second one and the third one, is simply the fact that this addition and subtraction has been done for you on the second one, but the third one you have to do it manually, all right? And it's nothing, serious. All you need to do, it does 0.05 from the lower side, and also add 0.05 to the quote, and that gives you the quote for the higher side. All right, so let's move on to how to do this conversion. All right, so now look at this. Assume exchange rate or exchange quote of dollar to pound is 1.250 to 1.260. How much is the worth of 250,000 naira receipt? Now, this receipt or payment is very important. When we're explaining this quote, we're saying that the bank will always want to make the margin. All right, so it now depends on whether you're selling, whether you're buying. So if you're selling, when you're expected to receive, of course, you're going to be selling that currency in the market, in the exchange market. When you get to the market, the bank will always want to buy that currency from you at the lower rate. All right, so this concept of knowing whether it's a receipt or a payment is very, very key to the interpretation of this currency. All right, so now let's pick this. Assuming that we have this 1.250 to 1.260, what is the worth of $250? So all I need to do here is very simple. I will simply do this quote, just rewrite it as dollar over pounds. This is 1.250 to 1.260, right? So now what this is going to help me to do is to understand how this quote is, all right? So now there are two rules basically. Rule number one is either you are going to be multiplying, or rule number two, you are going to be dividing. So you need to check divide. All right, so some students would do whether it's a foreign quote or is a local quote or is home country, home currency, and all of that. But may just confuse you a bit in the exam hall. All I need to do here is just to test which of these rule will apply to my conversion. All right. And if I want to test that for that rule, all I need to do is to just rewrite this quote just as I wrote up here, dollar over pound. I will try multiply. If I'm multiplying, it means I'm going to be multiplying by the exposure currency, which is dollar. If I say multiply by dollar, obviously I cannot, nothing can cross that. If I multiply this, eventually I'll be having dollar square over pound. So that means this rule cannot work. Automatically, the moment I check for one and it doesn't work, I'll just pick second rule. In this case, the second rule here is the division rule. So that means if I do dollar over pound divided by dollar, so obviously this can be dollar over pound multiply 1 over dollar. And so I can cross this, and then it means that my division rule can actually here. So if I'm going to be dividing, again, remember, I will say that the bank will always make the margin. If this is 250 and it's a receipt, I will need to be dividing with the rate or the quote that will give me the lower receipt, right? Lower receipt, because the bank will always be out there to make the margin. All right. So, and what should I do here? If you're in doubt, divide it 2. If I do 250,000 divide by 1.250, or if I do 250,000 divided by 1.260, clearly this one will give me lower receipt. Alright, and so the relevant code to be used here is to use this higher one, which will give me the lower receipt. Alright, and that should give me my expected receipt in pounds. So you can try this out. How much is the worth of $300,000 payment in dollar? Try that using this same code and put your solution in the comment section. See you in the next class.